Well, hello and welcome to a new random video, and on this video I'm here to talk about Freljord, the Frozen Lands. So like I said on the Runeterra's map video, I was gonna talk about Freljord like I'm gonna talk about all the regions on Runeterra, and after that I'm gonna talk about the lore of each champion in alphabetical order. So the first region I'm gonna talk about is Freljord, and I want just to give you a bit of context on how the video is gonna work. So I'm gonna talk about a few specific topics. For example, the first one is the geographic location of Freljord. Then I'm gonna talk about the nature of the place, the people that live there and how they are organized, the gods of the place, and at the end I'm gonna talk about the magic and how the magic is involved in Freljord in this case. And at the end I'm gonna say what Freljord is referencing from True Life. Yeah, everything in around Runeterra as like a reference of something that happened or is happening or it still exists in real life. I'm gonna try to follow all these topics to all the regions in Runeterra, but there are some regions that I'm gonna talk about the history of the place. Why am I not gonna talk about the history of the place on Freljord? I know, Freljord is really rich on history. I mean, Freljord is built around history of the place, but there's one little problem. If I talk about the history of Freljord, Lysandra will have no lore to talk about. I mean, the lore of Lysandra is basically the history of Freljord. So I'm gonna save to talk about the history of Freljord on Lysandra's lore video, because like I said, they're pretty much the same. But without further ado, let's jump into the video. Freljord is the most Nordic place on all Runeterra. It's surrounded by sea everywhere except in the south where is Demacia and in the southeast where is Noxus. The nature of the place is very hostile. There are large mountains with some regions of plains, these being the regions where it snows less and is less cold, and at the top of the mountains, naturally, it is colder and windier. The people of the region are mostly barbarian tribes and really strong people. I mean, they live in a really hostile nature. The three main tribes are the Frostguards, the Winterclaw, and the biggest one, the Everrosens. The Frostguard are a tribe that lives around the northeast zone of Freljord, around the ruins of the old Freljord. Ruled by Lysandra, they keep control of the Howling Abyss, the place where we play and have fun in Aram. But their task is far from fun. It has been a lot of time since the world faced the biggest danger it could ever face, and the memories began to fade away, from generation to generation. They don't remember the battles that happened in this place, they don't remember what is down the abyss, and under the ignorance of many, Lysandra is keeping the Watchers sleeping, so the chaos don't restore. Basically the Frostguard members are Lysandra and her followers, but there are a few exceptions, for example the Trolls, such as Trundle. They simply decided to ally themselves. Altogether, the Frostguards have a huge impact on the Frozen Lands, maybe the biggest one. A lot of champions on Freljord had a huge impact from the Frostguard, like Lysandra obviously, and the demigods, but pretty much all the champions on Freljord have at some point met the Frostguards. One example is Nunu, although he is not there anymore. The other big tribe are the Wintersclaw, a nomad tribe. They are the definition of survival of the fittest. They live to fight and fight to live. The tribe is led by Sejuani, and she plans to conquer Freljord by force. They gather food and supplies from the high plains, forests and northern waterways during the summer. In winter months, they survive by raiding southwards over the ice-covered seas. Sejuani managed to get some tribes to find her as an ally, and members of those tribes are Olaf, Udir, and in some way, Volibear. You'll learn more about that when I talk about Volibear's story, and on Udir's story too. But all you can get to know now is that the Ursign, the followers of Volibear, they are in some way members of the Winter's Claw. I say in some way because we have the animation The Call, where, yeah, I don't know it anymore. And I know that there's some stories about Udyr, but I still have to read about them. So, yeah, I'll talk about this more when I talk about Udyr and Volibear. But still, Sejuani, at least not at extreme, follows the demigod Volibear. And finally, but not less important, we get the Everosans, the oldest tribe in Freljord. The Everosans were united with the Winter's Claw in the past, but today they are ruled by the War Mother, Ashe, who, different from Sejuani, plans on uniting all the Freljord tribes by peace. They live on the warmer parts of Freljord, around the Racklestake, which allows them to have agrarian methods. They have a lot of tribes united to them, therefore, the rest of the champions that I haven't mentioned yet, except from the demigods, they are probably Everosans, such as Braum, Gragas and Tryndamere. The Everosans follow the principles of the demigoddess Anivia. That's why Ashe's E in League of Legends is a little Anivia that she can throw around the map to give her vision. Now talking about the gods. Freljord is rich in divine stories, especially about the primal gods of these lands, such as Orn, the Smith god, or Volibear, the Thunder demigod, and Nivea, the demigoddess of life, and the Seal Sister, which we know little about. And most recently, we got to know that there's a new demigod on Freljord, the Ironboar, the demigod of wrath. Every tribe around Freljord knows about them, and each tribe follows a different demigod, except from the Frostguards. Yeah, they kinda banish every thinking about the gods, so pretty much their gods is either Lysandra or the Watchers. About the magic of the place. Freljord is not as rich in magic as some other places like Ionia, which we will talk in the future, but the magic is indeed there. First we have the true ice, which is an ice that never melts and kills anyone that tries to touch them. Therefore, only special or stronger people are able to wield it. These people are called the Iceborn. Such people are champions in the game, like Ashe, Braum, Lysandra, Olaf, Sejuani and Trundle. Although, I don't know where Olaf has the true ice weapons. But anyway, all the mentioned are Iceborns. They can use true ice on their favor. But there's one in specific that is different, which is Lysandra. Lysandra, she can control the true ice, but her ice is slightly different. Her ice is called the Dark Ice, which is a version of the true ice that got corrupted by the Watchers. Overall, Freljord has a huge inspiration on the old Scandinavia, you know, the region around Norway, Sweden, Denmark and Finland. The people of Freljord are totally based on the Vikings, and the gods of Freljord are based on the Nordic gods, like Thor and Odin. A good way to picture that is just by looking at Olaf. He's basically a Viking. To conclude, Freljord is one of the oldest regions in the whole Runeterra, full of stories of their gods, watchers and divinities. Their past is completely rich. Nowadays, Freljord survives divided in 3 tribes that are trying to conquer Freljord by any means, but only the future can tell what will happen. But this was the video, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.